Hey everybody, I am on the line right now with Mikey Whipwreck. You know him from his time and championship accomplishments in ECW. He's going to be part of 80s Wrestling Con's Extreme Virtual Signing this coming Monday from 7 to 10 p.m. You can check Mikey out with Shane Douglas, Jerry Lynn, Two Cold Scorpio, and Simon Diamond for an Extreme Roundtable. Check all that out at 80swrestlingcon.com. We'll get into that, some of Mikey's career. First, how you doing today?
So far so good. It's still early yet, so there's plenty of time for things to go wrong. But as of right now, things are very good.
I will say today has been a good Friday so far, but
good.
Yeah, always time for it to go wrong, right?
Yeah, always.
So I mentioned to start the call that 80s Wrestling Con is Tommy Fierro. He's been doing virtual signings and conventions, all kinds of cool stuff. And it's 80s, but obviously, as people know, ECW really caught fire in the 90s. And, you know, this is a different decade, but still going to be a really cool event. All of the ones I've kind of promoted before and attended, been a part of, they're always really fun. This one has 5 huge names from ECW, yourself, and as I said, Shane Douglas, Jerry Lynn, Two Cold Scorpio, Simon Diamond. I know the past year has kind of complicated things, but how often do you kind of get together with these guys, or do like the convention circuit? Are you looking forward to kind of being back together this Monday?
Yeah, especially seeing Simon and Scorpio, because I haven't seen them in years. But we do the WrestleCons and the WrestleCades. And there's like a group of us, Shane Douglas, Jerry, Sam, and myself that usually get together in a group, and always a good time seeing them. Yeah. I don't dislike the Sam anymore. I've forgiven him for taking shots from hell.
Fair enough. Maybe I don't know. Who knows? Maybe when things open up, we'll see all of you guys at another con. I know you mentioned WrestleCade. They just announced WrestleCade Revenge this fall, so I'm hoping that I get to go to that in person. Maybe we'll see you guys down there. But for now, it's the Extreme Virtual Signing. One thing I do want to talk about that's current before we kind of dip into the past, I've been noticing Liquid Blue has been getting a lot more attention as of late.
Yeah.
You were known for your ring gear, the shirts. They were, really cool designs, and I saw some of them were in stock again. I think there was the Dragon one too that people were like, oh wait, Mikey wore this one, like, and it's out of stock. But what appealed to you about them? Because this is going back, it's not like a new trend. It's something that's coming back around again. And people talk about how wrestling works in cycles, but this is, a fashion choice that, is coming back around or really never left. So what appealed to you about making that statement with your attire?
It was a complete accident. A buddy of mine got that shirt for me for Christmas, and I would just wear it around, Mm-hmm. And when Paulie asked me if I wanted to wrestle, I had no gear. I had nothing. So I borrowed shorts from Donnie Allen. I wore sneakers in the ring, and I pulled that shirt out of my bag and go, well, this will be all right. Didn't want to wear no shirt because I was freaking tiny. Mm-hmm. Back then I was tiny, not so much anymore. But it was just one of those things. And then Paul said, I like the shirt. I said, okay. And I just kept wearing it. And then, after a while, I got some different ones. But I like their stuff. Like I said before, I was even wrestling. I just like their shirts. And it's funny too, because back in the day, people were making fun of me for liking Dungeons and Dragons, which I don't. But they thought I did because of the shirt. Um, and now people think that it's cool. It's like, oh, I know that shirt. That's the Mikey shirt, which is cool. And then uh, there's a bunch of other ones, but the other ones people know is the Overlord shirt, which is the same one that Brian Pillman would wear.
Mm-hmm.
And I always smile when I think of that because I gave him his first Overlord shirt. Because when he was in the ECW, he said it was a cool shirt. So I gave him one. Wasn't in the greatest shape because I was wearing them to wrestle and get people pull me around by my shirt. But he put it on. He liked it. He thought it was cool. And then I'm assuming he got more because the one I see him pictures and it's different. But he started wearing it in WWE. And yeah. So now I posted it, and the Liquid Blue people said, Mikey, every time I post about them, they get a bump in sales,
Mm-hmm.
which is cool. I'm like, wow, I have a little power somewhere. But he sent me a care package of like 7 shirts, so I'm loaded up now with some Liquid Blue shirts again.
There you go. I did find a picture of you in the one you just met, the Overlord shirts or Overload. So it's kind of cool how that caught on, and they're still seeing a bump in sales. So that's like a little tip of the cap or self pat on the shoulder.
Yeah, I posted about it, and it sold out.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
I saw somebody post about it. I didn't know it was you that did it.
Yeah, I posted a picture of it and how they Liquid Blue was selling it.
Okay.
And then it just they sold out of them. So people messaged me, asking me what they should do because they went to Liquid Blue and sold out. I'm like, I don't know. Contact Liquid Blue.
They're not me. They're not mine. I just wear them.
Right. Exactly.
So I do want to kind of go back into your career a little bit. You're the first ever ECW Triple Crown champion. I don't think I realized this until I see the stat every time, but you were only 22 years old when you won the ECW title. Like, what sort of
yeah,
like what I mean, not like you would have been too much older, but I figured like 26, 27, but you're still figuring things out at 22. Like, I can remember what I was like at 22, and I wish I could give myself some advice, my past self.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
But what was it like that, like having that accomplishment and really the responsibility, like you're still the champion of a company at that age, and maybe more to my point, what kind of advice now would you maybe give ECW champion Mikey?
Well, honestly, what I would say is when Paulie comes to ask you in May, June 1995 about doing a program with the Sandman, you tell him no. No, seriously. I mean, that whole period for me was just, none of it made any sense to me. It was awesome and it was amazing, but it didn't make any sense because a buddy of mine, Stormin Norman, went to wrestling school with Sonny Blaze, and Sonny would not take money from me to train because he felt he'd be ripping me off because there's no way I would ever make it in the wrestling business. It's just at my size. And then I started wrestling. And then Paulie, after a while, put the TV belt on me without doing anything offensive at all. So then I'm the television champion. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then Terry Funk is not going to show up in August during the night of that NWA tournament, and I'm going to replace Terry Funk. And logically, that makes no sense. You're going to replace Terry Funk with Mikey Whipwreck. I would have been screaming refund myself. So then I'm teaming with Cactus Jack, who I've been a huge fan of, and pretty much idolized him. Just watching him on TV when he was down in Texas, and he's a Long Island guy. He was just like, this guy's fucking awesome. So to get to meet him and team with him and then become friends with him was surreal. And then when the tag team belts with him is it's just insanity. Uh, and then go to win the team with the belt from Hack. And I'm just like this is insane. This doesn't make any sense. I'm not even supposed to be there. Like the guy from Clerks,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not supposed to be here today. I wasn't supposed to be there ever. It's just all happened by a fluke. And uh, I would tell myself now, I would say, take a minute and enjoy it. Just it was so much fun, but it was like I didn't take the time to stop and take it all in.
Mm-hmm.
It was just the next. So I would tell myself to just every now and then take a break and just sit down, and just look around, and just take it all in. Because Terry Funk told me, he goes, before you know it, your career's over. I said, Terry, you've been saying that for forever, but he's right. I'm like 47 now, and it just seems like in the blink of an eye, looking back, how fast it went.
Yeah, I know you still get the chance. You hear them at shows all the time, but is there something that you see and maybe appreciate as far as ECW still influencing wrestling? Maybe it's not something right in your face, but is there something you kind of can watch today's shows and be like, hey, you know what, that they did that because of us, or whether it's like subtle or any kind of stuff like that come to mind?
Just not that I can think of. I think about it when it happens and you hear the chant. I think about it. And usually it's like going through a table or something like that. But it's just crazy that the company was around, what, 8 years?
Yeah,
7
or 8.
Oh, yeah. And here we are 25 years later. And we're still current. That's one good thing of the WWE network. Rest in peace. But people go in and just watch it. Like, it's fairly prominent on their, well, when it was on their network, it's fairly prominent. It was like, well, there's WCW and ECW. They're kind of like right next to each other. And a whole new generation of people can come and watch it. Because when I was coming in and people talk about these matches from, like Dory Funk and what's his name? I can't think of his name now. There's one match that Spike made me watch all the time, but you had to get a videotape, or you had to see it somewhere and buy it. Which hardly ever happened, that older stuff. But now with the network, I mean, the ECW these days, you just pop it on, and there it is. Peacock, it's there too. I haven't seen if it's on Peacock or anything, but I mean, Peacock is a whole new level of potential exposure, because I think the Peacock network is going to get a lot more than the WWE network got. So I mean, it's potentially just rolled out to many millions more people with the ability to see it. So it's cool. It's just it's one of those things where you don't expect it. I figured, okay, ECW's gone, done. That's the end of it. And every now and then, something pops up and we get somewhat relevant again.
Yeah, I will say, I remember watching, like, I'd probably say like 1996, 1997 until the end, but I really feel like I missed, like, I wish I knew more about tape trading, because I kind of was like, okay, wrestling's on TV, here's what I can watch on TV. And then after the fact, I was like, wait, people are trading like stuff on tapes from like Japan and this ECW show and all this. So yeah,
Right.
the network and Peacock has its benefits and it makes it so easy, but it's like, man, I could have experienced, like, there's just something like, and it goes to like the retro vibe and talking about things coming back around and working in cycles. What's old is new again. But I feel like just experiencing it on VHS would have been like, just a completely different experience that I probably would have appreciated.
Yeah, and I still think the period from like '94 till 90, probably to '97 a little bit, what was the pinnacle of just being different.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you had, WWE started doing it, and then WCW started doing it. So for a while there, 3 or 4 years maybe, we were, we had a little niche going for us. That we were the company that was different. We were the company that was real. People would say, "I'm going, oh, it's realer than you think." Unfortunately, like, yeah, it was, a good time. I just like the fact that other people can go in and just watch it. Now,
Yeah.
granted, some of it doesn't age well, with the culture being completely different these days. Doesn't age too well, some of it, but it
Yeah,
is what it is.
I think people have to consider that it was, whether it was deemed appropriate or not, it was a product of that time. And I think
Mm-hmm.
should look at it that way instead of saying, not to get too far into like cancel culture or anything like that. But yes, some stuff doesn't age well, but it was created in 1996, 1997. So there's no way to change it. It's there, but
Yeah. So that's how it goes too with other TV shows like All in the Family and like The Jeffersons and some of that stuff. It would never get made today.
Mm-hmm.
And some of that stuff, if you watch it, it's just funny. Like if you don't take it seriously, and like say Archie Bunker was a racist, they go, yeah, but he was the one that looked like a fool at the end of every episode.
Yeah.
But it's just funny stuff. Like it's just, my thing is if something's on and I don't like it, or I find it offensive, I just turn it off.
Fair enough. Change the channel. You're still involved in some ways in the wrestling business. As I said, you're doing the Extreme virtual signing this Monday, but you're also still doing your podcast. You can catch Mikey out with Jerry Lynn on Front Row Material. You kind of do what we're doing right now, going back in, telling some fun ECW stories. What's the what is the dynamic like with you and Jerry? Because we talked about you feuding with the Sandman and you feuding, or like your various opponents, and you teamed with Mick Foley and Tajiri. So what's it like working with Jerry in this setting?
No, it's awesome. Jerry's like my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, when you hear us on the podcast, it started off as a wrestling podcast with a little humor built in, because that's just me naturally. But it's kind of evolved into just it's just so fucking random, and wrestling has become less and less part of the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We'll still talk about it for certain things, but like the whole format of, okay, we're going to talk about November to Remember '97 today, and you do almost like a watch along, or you discuss that the long format. And I hate that, because for me to stay concentrated on one thing for an hour and a half or 2 hours, or even just like a watch along of like 3 hours, it's like I can't do that. Like I can't watch Raw that way. I can't watch AEW that way. I can't just sit there and watch it. I have to just have it on, and I'm just doing other stuff at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And if I hear something that is interesting, I'll look at it. Or if somebody tells me, Jerry said, "Oh, Mikey, we did this, so check this out this week." I said, "Okay." And if I know to watch for something, I'll do that. But and that's just in everyday life. I can't focus on one thing and just do it. I am scatterbrained. I've unfortunately had 14 concussions, so I'm all over the place. And somehow I keep it together. But my wife is like, "How do you even function like this?" Because in essence, like in my brain, it's the expression of there's shit everywhere. And it's just, I don't know, I make it work, and I'm so used to it that way. It's just kind of, that's how it is. But it's just Jerry and I, we just get along. Like I say, we're like best friends, and we're just goofy. So when you get in the podcast, is just the way me and Jerry are if we're just on a regular phone call. Just with Mike Freeland trying to rein us in.
Mm-hmm.
But we're on a little break now through the spring and the summer. I think we'll be back in the fall. Freeland's still doing it. with some people. He gets some guests on there. But Jerry and I will be back probably September-ish, I think, because we just needed a break.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing this thing like 2 years, and we thought it would last 5 minutes, 5 episodes. So that's it. And then we got on poor Barrow, signed us to his MLW network, and I said, okay, now we're going to get fired. Here it comes, because now we're going to get canceled. I go, this is it. And he's never said anything, and here we are, and it's still going. So Jerry and I will be back. It's just we have a lot of personal stuff going on now.
Mm-hmm.
That it's just harder and harder to get together at a specific time to record this and get this out there, because we're doing the live thing on Twitch. So once things calm down, we're thinking probably by the fall, we'll be back all the time. So Jerry and I will pop on every now and then just to say hey or whatever, but that's just kind of how it is. And that's just us, random, like, oh, okay. Oh, Mikey's here today. How interesting.
There you go. I think, like, I kind of watch wrestling like you do. Like, I just kind of want it on, and I don't really want to analyze it sometimes, but sometimes it's almost like we're doing this, like, it's almost not about the wrestling, and it's more like just kind of relating to each other on a different level. And the whole dropping the curtain or whatever, like dropping the veil and all that, like. But if you guys want to check out the show archives, just search Front Row Material. It should come up, like, I think it's on iTunes, and it goes through iTunes. So
pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, so the first link is Apple, and Player FM, Stitcher, anywhere you want to listen. Like you said, you can check it out. What's it called? You can check it out on MLWradio.com. So you want to find it, you can find it.
So if you start at the beginning, by the time you get to the new stuff,
you'll be back.
Jerry and I will probably be back.
There you go. There's plenty of stuff on there. I did want to ask, if it's not too big picture, this is more like I started doing a watch list feature, but if fans want to go and check out your work, whether it's on VHS or Peacock or WWE Network, is there a match or series of matches that you would point to that, really just best represents who you wanted to be as a wrestler? Like, anything like that come to mind? Or maybe you have a new appreciation for in hindsight?
The match with Kidman in WCW, I had the first one. I think we had 2 or 3 of them, but the first one was pretty good. That was like my first ever attempt at really being a heel. Mm-hmm. So I think it was okay. I look back at it now, I go, I would have done that differently. But I mean, that was a pretty good match we had. I do the match with Steve Austin just because it's Steve Austin. And I've made more money off that one match than anything else I've ever done combined. The stuff with Cactus was fun. I was still really green as goose shit at that point. So I didn't really, I felt like if I teamed with him 5 years later, it would have been amazing. Instead of just good. But then, of course, I was talking about the stuff that Tajiri and I did with Jim Mitchell. Mm-hmm. That stuff was really fun. Again, just goofy. My character at that point was just me being a mix between Chris Farley, Ozzy Osbourne, and Randy Savage.
Talk about an unholy trinity. That is one right there.
Oh, Bill, it was so much fun. It was just like, the matches we had fun putting the matches together and coming up with double team stuff and things like this. Mm-hmm. But just the promos was just like, we honestly would sit and drink and just think of the stupidest thing that we could. Like, what is something really dumb or like just like off the wall? Mm-hmm. And we were in Milwaukee one time, and there's a big giant empty swimming pool and a tricycle in the pool. And I go, I said, how about I'm on this bicycle just running around just like an idiot? I don't know if Saw had come out by that point, but just something stupid. I was like, I'm just gonna ride this tricycle around, and then I'll roll down the hill that's in this pool to the deep end and fall off and then scream, I can't swim. and start flailing around like an idiot. Or we did in the same place. We did one where the devil had me on strings. He was at the top of the pool. I was in the deep end, and we had strings on my legs and my hands. And he made me like a marionette.
Mm.
I was just like, we just sit and drink, and we would just get goofy. And the more goofy we got, we would just kind of take note of what we were doing. And granted, most of it never went anywhere. But every now and then we see an idea and go, oh, this might be interesting. We could probably work with this. So yeah, it's a good time because the devil's amazing. Mm-hmm. Just his mind is great for promos and his delivery of promos. And, if you think of the devil, I think of him now.
Yeah.
The devil in human form, because his look was just like perfect.
And when
now
go ahead.
And now his look now that he shaved his head, it's like even more devil-like.
Yeah, that I was going to say that you still see him on TV, and he looks even more like, not to use the pun directly, but he looks even more sinister, more, like when he shows up, something's not going to go right.
Yes.
So yeah, that I did want to really quickly point out, you mentioned the 2 matches with Kidman. If anybody's listening to this, you can go search WCW Thunder episode 71, July 8th, 1999, and then WCW Uncensored 1999, the pay-per-view. So you can go find those, and then plenty of stuff to dig into the archives. But until then, we could check out Mikey at the 80s Wrestling Con Extreme Virtual Signing. He's one of 5 ECW stars that you'll be able to get a shout out, an 8x10, get your own stuff signed. This Monday is going to be a really cool event, and I wanted to thank you very much for your time today.
No, thanks for having me. Really looking forward to Monday, because just getting together with the guys is always fun. Mm-hmm. We start right away, probably with ball busting. Shane will start it. And then it'll somehow transition into talking about the old days. And then, yeah, it's just fun. Every time we see him, it's like, oh, I just saw you yesterday. Otherwise, with Scorpio, it's been years.
Yeah.
Simon, too.
Yeah. Hey,
it's going to be fun. It'll be a good time.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually talking to Simon right after this, so
nice.
I'm glad you get a chance to catch up with him, and catch up with the other guys, and get to talk to the fans a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll tune in Monday. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is the first one I've done with more than one person. Like, I've done a virtual signing here and there, mm-hmm. and it's just me. I'm like, this is like awkward. But I mean, with everybody else, it's just going to be fun.
Yeah, well, it's good to hear. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks again for your time, and have a good afternoon. Hope your Friday continues to be a good one.
I hope so. Last Friday was a disaster, so hopefully this one is going to remain nice and calm.
There you go. Have a good one, man.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks, man.
Bye.
See ya.